All right, what is up, everybody? This is the Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Matt Ramage. We got RevTrev in the house. We got Dakota. But first, big shout out to Quick Trip, sponsoring the whole thing. And a lot of people have been talking. Quick Trip has some outages. The Quick Rewards app not working. They got some situations over there. People asking about if you just go to the Quick Trip social media page, they've been posting their stuff on it. I'm the last person to know anything about it. I'm not on the board of directors, none. But yeah, so hopefully that gets straightened away real quick. But yeah, Quick Trip. My suggestion for Quick Trip, people always ask, first time going there, get the crispy chicken sandwich. My personal favorite right now. But anyways, let's talk about some fantasy football. First of all, let's unmute these guys if they're not. All right, here we go. How's it going today, Dakota? How's your week been going? It's kind of early in the week yet, but
yeah, the week has been good. Productive day in my real job today, so that was good, and had a pretty good fantasy football weekend. I lost in one league at the very end, but if Pollard caught that catch for the touchdown at the end of the game, I won, and he did not. But won all the other ones, so pretty good week.
Not too bad. What about you, Mr. RevTrev?
Yeah, I had an awesome weekend, man. Incredible, actually, and fun times with family, and NHL's on, so I'm pumped. I've got another channel that I do all that stuff on, and then, of course, football. So, I mean, what else do you want in life, right?
It don't get no better. But what is your YouTube? I always forget to mention that. We mentioned that early on because you do a lot of good stuff over there.
Yeah, thanks. I do Packers and fantasy football content on Kempner Sports, and that's my last name, Kempner Sports. And then if you want to follow my stuff about hockey, it's Kempner Canucks. Would love to have you there.
Yeah, that is good stuff. Yeah, my weekend is good. Like whenever the Packers don't play, you get to watch football like in a different way because obviously you're all dialed in, and I do my live streams or whatever. So I didn't do a live stream because there's no other games that people barely want to hear me talking about the Packers. But it was fun, and my son's birthday was Sunday. It was pretty good. But yeah. So did you do a lot of winning on your fantasy football?
Yeah, so it was kind of one of those weird weeks where people are either like a lot of people lost or won by just a couple points. I just was going through my leagues and there were so many close games. And so I was actually on the winning side of a couple of those and the losing side. And it's like, really? And just like Dakota's like, if that guy would have caught it, like my buddy, he had Keenan Allen, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak Prescott all playing, and he lost by 0.2 because Keenan Allen, Herbert overthrew him. Those are a lot of the different plays that had happened this weekend. So it was quite hilarious fantasy-wise. But I'm pretty mad that I lost this week, and so I want to talk about it, but I don't.
Yeah, I was actually pretty lucky. Like it seems like the last few is like the team I play has a horrible week. Mine wasn't great. I only got 96 points. Like I think there's only 2 teams in my league that had over 100. So maybe it's just like fantasy, like that's just how the NFL went last week. But I'll bring this on. This is my team. I had no one like really blow up. Lamar started slow. He almost got me to 20. Diggs had 15. Thielen kind of did his thing. He had 23. I think that they realized like what he can do, and they're actually using him now consistently. But yeah, not many players like really popped off. But this person's team not ideal. I don't think it's one of the top teams in our league. But I think I got lucky. But dude, I'm pumped though because I feel like I'm doing way better than I expected to do in fantasy football.
Yeah, I think any week that you get the W and you score under 100, you should be pretty thankful.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I think I'm third in the league right now, so I'm happy at that. I'll take it.
Because the league that I lost in with that Pollard, I wouldn't really call it a drop. It was a pretty tough ball. Dak could have put it better. He was there though, and I lost by like 6 points, and I scored like 140. So. Wow.
That's wild.
That's a
but yeah, dude, like speaking of just missing, I'm not like a big betting dude, but my son showed me this app, and I had to do some money on it or whatever. And dude, I missed a bet by half a yard. I had the under, and Dak Prescott went half a yard over it, and I was like, "Whoa, why do people do this?" I'm not betting a ton of money. It's not like I'm, but I was like, "That's brutal, dude." If people had whatever, those people that have big time money on it, but that it's kind of, I think it might have got its hooks in me though. That's fun. You bet on not even like Packer games, but like Monday Night Football or whatever, kind of get you more excited about it. It's just kind of the same thing with fantasy, but yeah, cool. That was pretty brutal.
Yeah, Matt, I loved how so you're talking about Thielen there. He has been the surprise, honestly, of the whole fantasy football. And man, he's a must start. Look, how many weeks has he had 20 points? And I think that you just need to keep riding this guy because he is on fire, right? So let's just see, what does it say there for points wise?
He got points. Week 2, he got 16.9. Week 1 is the only one. He had 2 points. But and then week 3 bounced back to 26. Week 4 against the Vikings, he had 11. Then 22 against Detroit and 23 at Miami. Yeah, so
he's must start, right?
Yeah, and that's not like how I predicted that it would go. I grabbed him, but I think that at first maybe they didn't really work him in, I guess, but he actually is more consistent than I thought he was. But I feel like these last few, they understand what they got, and just keep feeding it, and I'll keep starting.
Yeah, and if you look at it there, that says that the targets are what is the most important to me there. But what's insane is not only the targets, but he catches everything. Like if he's getting 9 balls thrown to him and he's catching 7, he's 14 and 11, 8 and 7. He doesn't drop a pass.
Yeah, they throw it to him.
And we know that he's got good hands, right? We knew that, but we thought he had lost his step and nobody thought he was going to be very good at all. But that just proves that he is for real. This is like Minnesota Vikings prime Adam Thielen. If you don't have, I don't know if you can trade for him right now, but I'm just telling you right now that those numbers are insane. And everyone's like, well, can he keep it up? I don't know. But all the numbers say he can.
and he's getting the targets now, like you mentioned. The last 2 weeks, what does that say? 13 each in the last. They're throwing to him. Like you say, he doesn't drop him. They throw it to him. He pretty much is catching it.
Yeah, and I like I said in the chat, Thielen is a very quarterback friendly wide receiver. He knows where to slow down in those zones. He's very aware of his quarterback when his quarterback's in trouble. He knows how to come back to the ball, find those soft spots. He's a very quarterback friendly wide receiver. He may have lost a step as far as speed and maybe it slowed down his route running a little bit, but his intelligence and how he plays the game makes up for all of that. And with a young QB like Bryce Young, he's the perfect wide receiver for him. So I would agree he's a must start right now.
I got Bryce Young too. I picked him up, not playing him, but he actually did all right. I forget.
Yeah, especially in Dynasty, you dropped or you traded Russell Wilson for a bag of candy.
Yeah, like that. Like $2. And so I grabbed Bryce Young because in Dynasty, you never know. Next year he might be whatever. Who knows? But so what do you guys want to get at today?
So we want to do some waiver wire stuff for sure. We want to get in some trade offers. If people want to post in their trade offers, I have a couple things that we can talk about. But as well as we want to do the start and sit. So we would love for guys to be jumping in and throwing in who they should start and sit. And so that's where I think we're going to go today with the show. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Yeah, I meant to make a post and say send in your questions and all that stuff and use that, but I kind of flaked out. I was doing other stuff today.
That's all right.
You're busy.
We'll get started with the waiver wires right now, and that'll give people time to get their questions in. How about that? First, we do have I don't know if it's really a question, but a comment. I don't see it any. Somebody said that. Oh yeah, there it is. William Clark Signed local Rockford player, watch him all through high school, James Robinson today. The Packers signed him. He's signed to the practice squad. He's going to be essentially in that Patrick Taylor role, right? We couldn't re-sign Patrick Taylor because we brought him up from the practice squad too many times. Just so everybody's clear on that. So,
all right.
I don't really think that he's worth rostering. Maybe in a dynasty, he's a deep stash, but I don't really feel like he's going to be worth much. At best, his role is Patrick Taylor, in my opinion. I don't see him overtaking AJ Dillon, even though AJ Dillon hasn't had a great start to the season. He looked better last week or 2 weeks ago. We had to buy, but I think the fact that Aaron Jones is practicing in full this week, AJ Dillon's looking like he's better, and they're still not dropping Emmanuel Wilson to the practice squad or in just dropping him in general makes me think that, it's going to be a very minimal role, if any, for James Robinson.
Yeah.
Unless there's some injuries.
You got anything on that, Rev? Mr. RevTrev? Yeah.
I'm with Dakota.
Yeah, I agree
100%. What do you think,
they were talking about it. No, people were talking about it, I think, in my fantasy chat. And no, that's not a guy who, it's fantasy-wise, that I think is going to make an impact, that he's going to do anything. But like you said, if you want to stash him in Dynasty, even then, I wouldn't. Because I stash people.
Yeah. Generally, when you stash people in Dynasty, you're stashing, young rookies that have a chance to break out in a year or so.
Yeah.
James Robinson is still kind of young. He's only 25, but it seems like he's on the decline already, right? He had a surprising rookie year. I think it was his rookie year. Maybe it was his second year, but it's kind of gone downhill ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know though. Okay, so I want to throw this out because I know you guys are saying that. I know a lot of Packers fans are saying that. But why would they sign him now? I don't understand why they would make that deal now. Are they really worried about Aaron Jones' injury that's going to kind of linger on longer? Are they just really dissatisfied with the production they're getting from AJ Dillon? Are they why would you sign him if you didn't think he's going to contribute to the team? So I
think that he's just, right? He's a solid depth piece that you can put on your practice squad because they changed the practice squad rules and now you can have vets on there, right? And they can't, like I said, they couldn't sign Patrick Taylor back to the practice squad because they elevated him too many times. So they had to either sign Patrick Taylor to the 53-man or they had to release him. And they chose to release him and keep Emmanuel Wilson there. And I think that just basically is what it is, You lost the best guy, and so you needed somebody on the practice squad.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it is. That they had to replace him. They did. And we'll see, but I don't think and people should expect too much, especially not right away.
So let's talk about running backs that you might want to pick up.
Let's do it
on the waivers. So I have 3 marked for this week, maybe 3.5. I have Kareem Hunt,
half a guy saying there.
Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, and Zach Evans. The half is Jordan Mason, right? So Kareem Hunt, I think that you can plug him as a low-end flex. He's going to get usage, kind of like last year, and he's going to occasionally score touchdowns where he has good weeks. He's not going to be dependable unless something were to happen to Ford, but at least he has a solid role on the team with the starter healthy. So that's my caveat on him. On Zach Evans, who I think is considered the top waiver wire pickup this week, I think that he is going to be a great bye week fill-in, but I don't see much long-term value there. What do you think, RevTrev?
Yeah, I mean, I can see why people are excited because, he's got 1 fantasy point, so what's there to be excited about, right? But we're talking that offense loves to run the ball, and there just literally is no one else. And I know that's really bad fantasy strategy, But at this stage in the thing, it's like you're just taking flyers. Some people don't even have much fab anymore. So, like, I don't mind taking a
did
stab
not
at
advise
him.
against.
Right, I know, but other people picked up guys who have now contributed to their teams. So I think early on there is some value with certain guys. I know that everyone gets overly hyped for sure, but even Puka is still someone that I wish I would have gotten most of my leagues, right?
Mhm.
Which I would have spent a little bit more, a couple, whatever. But Evans is just it's a shot in the dark. But if he's the starting running back in there, maybe bye weeks are horrible this week.
Yeah.
So getting a guy like Zach Evans might be your best option, and you might have to overpay to get him. But I don't expect. I'm with you. I don't expect him to do great things. But even if he got me 7 to 10 points, I'm happy. I know lots of people that are in seriously bye week hell. So
bye week
running back position. A lot of the running backs that are important are on buys this week. But yeah, bye week fill-in, I think that he's great for that. So if you have the space to, not drop anybody important and put someone on IR, or you got somebody expendable at the end of your roster and you need to get somebody in your running back slot this week, I think Zach Evans is going to be good for this week. If you're looking for that investment, I don't think there's much investment there. Kyron Williams is supposed to be back, potentially just missed one game, right? They said it's a low ankle sprain. They don't expect him to miss much time. And, some guys like Travis Kelce, they don't miss any time with the low ankle sprain, right? So I think that, if you need a guy this week, Zach Evans is going to be good. But if you are looking for more investment or long-term and you need depth, I would rather get Kareem Hunt because at least he has a role moving forward. And then Elijah Mitchell, Jordan Mason. So Elijah Mitchell has been very good before, right? He's just also been very hurt, like always. Shanahan said today or yesterday, he came out and was asked about it. And he said that Elijah basically is their guy if Christian is out. A lot of people thought it was going to be Mason because Mason got more carries last week. But Elijah Mitchell, that was his first game back after 3 weeks off. So I think he was on a snap count. I think if you got to plug in somebody with McCaffrey out, Elijah is your guy. McCaffrey, they didn't give him a timetable, but they're not. I haven't heard anything about IR, so I don't think it's going to be too long. But oblique injuries are tricky. So he might get 2 or 3 weeks all alone without McCaffrey. Debo's out as well, potentially. So it's going to be a good running back gig for at least this week.
Jose, are you done? I want to throw out this comment over here. We got Jordan Love or Lawrence. I think that's a pretty good question. I have Jordan Love. I don't have Lawrence. I don't have that problem. Plus, Lamar's doing his thing.
No,
but
I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think this is hard. It should be Trevor Lawrence just because we saw the Packers have struggled 2 weeks in a row horrifically in the first half. But they've had some time to adjust, to get things right. And Lawrence is not really healthy. He's still questionable. So I would just wait and see. You might have to start Jordan Love this week. But I think that Trevor Lawrence has better wide receiver options at this time. And Kirk is very good. I think Kirk is probably the number one there, but they have two top end wide receivers with him and Ridley. So
yeah.
And then ETN, they're throwing out of the backfield to him. Is Aaron Jones playing this week? I think so, but I'm wondering if there's too many question marks with Green Bay. But if I was you guys, if I was you, John, I would be going with Lawrence as long as he's healthy. But if he's not, of course, Jordan Love is. You have to play him and go for it. And you kind of whatever happens. You got to put your best foot forward, right? So.
Yeah, it seems to me because Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence, I think their numbers are probably pretty similar throughout this season.
No, as Jordan Love's fantasy, much better, isn't he?
He might be. I think he had a couple good weeks, but I think as Lawrence right here, he's pretty consistent with like
Jordan,
16, 18, 17, 18. So he's just getting you just under 20.
Jordan gave you 20-point games for every week except for last week, I believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna check him out.
Go to your league, your team.
Yeah. But I think that Lawrence, in theory, he's got the higher floor, right? We saw what the floor was with Jordan Love, and it wasn't great. I do expect that he's going to bounce back. He's got a cushy week against Denver. You know, Trevor Lawrence has the short week, and with him being nicked up, you're going to know very soon because they play on Thursday night. So definitely check the injury status there. If Trevor Lawrence is just not in good shape and he's game time decision, I think that I would roll with Jordan Love just because even if he does play, maybe he's banged up and not playing perfect. And the New Orleans defense is decent. So on a short week, injured, I can see going Love, but I do think Trevor Lawrence has the better floor. So,
but yeah, as far as your points, you were right that Jordan Love, like his peak this year has been way higher. Like week 1, 29 points, week 2, 26 again, then 19. And then obviously last week, he's got 4.98. We won't talk about that one, or not last week, but the week before their bye. So I don't know. I think depends, like if you trust that this Packers team is going to bounce back, then you could go with Jordan. But if not, and like did the whole thing with Trevor Lawrence, like his injury, like is he healthy? Is he not? So I don't know. To me, that's kind of toss up if you trust his offense to bounce back big. And they are playing the Broncos, who are not a good team. I don't know all their stats, like their defense, what they're ranked or whatever, but hopefully we don't make them all look like playoff stars.
Right. Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, so for me, because you got to make a decision on Thursday, I would probably go with Lawrence if Lawrence is healthy. But if it's questionable, I mean, the good news is you're gonna have to make a decision by Thursday, and then but it is close. Like John is saying, it is a tough decision. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's a tough one. So
you guys want a Packers fan, just go for Love.
You know what I mean? So what do you guys thought? So Julio Jones was just picked up, right? I saw that earlier today. I wasn't like staying up with, not up to date with everything, but what do you guys think? I saw some fantasy football memes about him.
Yeah. Well, just a reminder that Odell Beckham Jr. was available and the Baltimore Ravens got him. So where's he now? I don't know. I think these guys are old. Like,
yeah.
What am I going to expect from Julio Jones? But now, granted, I still think Terrell Owens could probably play.
Like he just got hit by a car. Terrell Owens was like playing basketball pickup game. They got in an argument and someone ran him over. But they say he's all right. He didn't need medical attention.
Well, have you ever instantly regretted a comment that you made? I instantly regret that one. Then I don't want to start Terrell Owens. So.
No, but I was saying to my wife though, I was like, yeah, he didn't need medical attention. He's been running across the middle his whole career. Little car ain't gonna hurt nobody. But he's all right.
Yeah, so I'm not in on Julio, but.
No, especially as fantasy, like I don't think it's a bad play to like pick up these older wide receivers, not T.O., but like Odell Beckham and these guys, because as a team, I'm sure it helps with the locker room. They obviously participate a little bit, but I have OBJ. He ain't doing crazy stuff, but as far as fantasy, it's not like they're gonna come in and be like 8 years ago or whatever and just pop off.
Yeah, and Julio is that hamstring seems like it gets him like every 2 weeks or something, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Also, I mean, they got some of the best wide receiver core you could ask for there ahead of Julio. So you got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. There's not much targets to go around. You got Dallas Goedert, Swift,
We got someone who picked him up. Trying.
This is the guy that you beat last week.
Yeah.
Who put up like 60 points. So if
he's got nothing to start. So he's got to swing for the fences here, guys.
Dude, winning in fantasy is such a fun thing when you're watching football all day, especially like with the Packers didn't play. So I was like, I didn't pay attention, just looking at my team. It's a glorious thing.
So let's let's do that one.
Yeah, I like this question. It's a really good one. So it depends. Who are your other wide receivers, Lyle? By the way, Halal, remember this? You have the stack team, right? From last week. So I'm gonna probably say no, I wouldn't start DJ Moore because you just have other better options. But I mean, DJ Moore is a very solid wide receiver. I'd say he's a wide receiver too. So he's almost a must start every week, anyways. So
and for the people on the podcast, we'll just read it. He asked, "Would you start DJ Moore with Justin Fields injured?" No, it's all good. But some people on the podcast probably might be confused. All four of them, you know what I mean? We don't want that. But yeah, I think that it would be. I'm not sure like what the Bears' offense is going to look like without Justin Fields. Like I assume it's going to be similar, just less of the running part. That's what it seems like with the Bears' offense. But yeah, I don't know.
Quick waiver wire update on wide receivers. Since we're talking about wide receivers, Josh Downs, I think you got to pick him up. Richardson is out for season, I read today. So Minshew loves Josh Downs. He's been peppering Josh Downs. They didn't have a huge week last week, but he still got 9 targets, I think. So I would pick him up for sure. And the other guy, and I've been banging the drum on this guy for a couple weeks now, and now the banging's getting louder. People are starting to hear it. But Rashee Rice, I mean, he's solid. This guy, talking about guys that catch everything like Thielen, Rashee Rice, every week, it's like he's getting 5 targets and he's catching 5 balls. And he's good after the catch. He's found the end zone now a couple times. I think his role is only going to keep growing. So pick him up.
So speaking of running backs, what's the thing on Aaron Jones? Like I haven't really been in the loop. Like are they saying like because they kind of said he was healthy before, but then he wasn't. What are we hearing now?
He practiced in full this week, right? I don't
think he was even limited. But I think he did the week before too, didn't he? Or was he just?
I think they were still limited the week before.
Yeah, it might have been just limited. Yeah.
So I think he's all systems go.
I hope so.
You got him, plug him in.
But watch that ticker. Make sure that he plays.
Yeah,
but he's kind of a must start, right? He's a guy who can get you 20-something points in fantasy. So
if he's good to go, like he's a big part of that offense, and I think that's why the offense is struggling. A lot of people said it. I said it all off season. Aaron Jones is going to be a huge part of this offense, with being an older guy too, with a very young offense and running back. It's just perfect, but these injuries are brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to bring a comment up here. Any prominent wide receiver in that Chiefs offense and fantasy relevant? Like I always wondered about MVS. Like I haven't paid attention to like what he did, but like how many that I don't think that offense is really doing like what they used to do, but they're still winning. So like
that offense actually really worries me fantasy wise. I'll talk about it in a little bit. I'm starting to lean that I'm getting out of that offense. It's like Kelsey and nobody else, but I know that the Rice comment by Dakota, that's really, I think he's the only other guy you want. Sky Moore is not good enough fantasy-wise. MVS is not good enough fantasy-wise, and I feel like I'm missing a guy there. But they're just a bunch of really decent wide receivers. There's no one really special. So that's what they're hoping Rice becomes. So that would be my advice.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Stay away from Sky Moore and MVS, and Tony is the guy I think you're missing.
Tony's the guy. I just don't. He's too hit and miss for me. So
none of them have done anything consistently except for Rice, and Rice has pretty much gave you like 10 points plus every week. So
yeah, when I'm grabbing guys like a fantasy, like I want consistency because like even if it's not the biggest number, but like if you got guys who are like 1 week they're getting 2. Then the next week they're getting 18 or whatever. It's fine, like, but those weeks that you play them and they get nothing, like that's brutal.
Yeah,
we should go to that trade offer by Randy Miller. It's in the YouTube there.
All right, up here.
So it's a little bit higher. No, one more higher.
All right, I had to scroll up. Here we go.
So it says trade Gibbs and Flowers for Aaron Jones if healthy. I have Brees, Chuba, Ford, and Rashawn, Amon-Ra, Waddle, Devontae, and Palmer. I would do that in a heartbeat. I love Aaron Jones. I think he's going to – I mean, I know Montgomery's hurt, but I would just do that deal because I think you upgrade in your running back situation and you have Brees and Aaron Jones starting, and then you can do Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Waddle, and Devontae. That to me is like league-winning formula right there. But Zay Flowers is good, so it depends on what you guys think about that.
No, I agree. I think I would do that. You miss out on wide receiver, but bottom of the bench wide receiver is a lot easier to find than running back depth, right? So you can go in there and get like Josh Downs, Rashee Rice, Curtis Samuel, Jameson Williams, guys like that are out there. There's no real running backs. Like we went over the running back situation. You're looking at a bye week fill-in. You're looking at a guy that's very injury prone to fill in for Christian McCaffrey for how many weeks potentially. So if you can get a guy like Aaron Jones to add to your stable, I think that's worth it.
Well, I put the wrong one. We can get to that, but yeah, I ain't got nothing to say about that because I'm not locked in enough. But I have Aaron Jones, and I like him a lot on my team. If healthy, like I said, he's huge. So if you can get him, get back to this one. What's up, Todd? He says, "What are your thoughts on KJ Osborne?"
Wow, that's a deep one.
Yeah,
I think he's an okay, potentially bye week flex fill-in type of guy. I don't love having to play him. But I mean, he got pretty good weeks the last 2 weeks, right? Let me see. He gave you like 10-point weeks the last 2 weeks in PPR.
But Addison's the guy you want. So
yeah,
he even with Jefferson out, he's getting you under 50 receiving yards. I don't think that's a guy you want to be. I mean, picking up, putting on your bench, cool. But I would not be starting him at all. That's just, I'm sorry, I don't mean to hijack that, but I'm just thinking, what is it about him that would be great? 5 catches, 4 catches?
Addison's not available in most leagues, I don't think.
No, I know.
Right?
What I'm saying is.
So, yeah, if you have to pick up a wide receiver and that's one of the best ones in your waivers, maybe you're in a deeper league, I think it's okay. But yeah, he's at best just kind of
a dude.
Like
they say, a jag, just a guy.
Steve Smith.
He's got all the opportunity in the world, and he's still a jag.
Yeah.
And it's not because we hate the Vikings. It's just honest fantasy advice.
Yep.
But I also do hate the Vikings. But yeah,
there's a good question by John. It says Gabe Davis or Calvin Ridley. That's a really good question as well. I really like that one. I think upside, I would go Gabe Davis because he scores touchdowns, and I find that. But he also is got the lowest floor out of the two. I think with Ridley, it's usually pretty consistent. I'm not the hugest Ridley fan, as you're kind of seen. I would probably go Gabe Davis at this stage because he's already got 4 touchdowns, and it shows that Allen is looking for him. Where I don't think how many. I know that. Do you guys know the numbers of Ridley?
I'm
trying to find him.
Touchdowns. Like, he has 20. Only 2, but he's got 2 100-yard receiving games, and he gets a lot of targets.
Yeah, I would go with Gabe Davis there. Just
yeah, Ridley. I got it up here on the screen. Yeah, he's even target wise. The last few, he had 2, 8, 8, 10 points, 17 points, 4 points. Yeah.
But see, Gabe Davis's thing is he usually only gets 3 or 4 targets because he's their home run hitter, right? He's had only 2 weeks above 4 targets. So there's like you said, his floor is really low because he doesn't get a lot of targets. He is the guy that takes the top off that defense, and Josh Allen loves to sling it. And all it takes is one Gabe Davis catch to make your day. But I mean, with this week, the Bills going against New England, that defense has looked not great. The Jaguars are going against New Orleans on Thursday night with a potentially injured QB. I think Gabe Davis is a good start this week over Ridley. For the long term, I think season long, I would trust Ridley more weeks than I would trust Gabe Davis.
I'm glad I don't need either of them because I drafted like a boss. Even like in my league, like doing dynasty, like there's so many players available. Like I have never there was a couple times I went to the waiver wire, but I don't even know what those that means. But the money, people put up so much money for, I have no idea what it even means. I just don't need to know because I like my team. I'm riding with them. Tight end wise, for a buy, I'm probably going to be in a situation, but I'll worry about that week.
Well, let's mention some tight ends then real quick.
Yeah.
So I have 3 tight ends, in my opinion, worth picking up. I got Michael Mayer, who has busted on the scene these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, good call.
He's got like a 20% target share these last 2 weeks. Not eye-popping numbers, but remember the tight end room is shallow. I think that you could do worse than picking up Michael Mayer, and he's a rookie, second-round guy, right? So his role could continue to grow. Obviously, there's some health concerns with Jimmy and everything there, but those last 2 weeks, he's the target's been picking up. He's trending in the right direction. Excuse me. The other guy is Jonnu Smith. I don't know why people still own Pitts and don't own Smith. It's mind blowing to me. But
I was with you, Dakota, until recently. Pitts has turned it on. He's playing up to his potential right now.
He's had like 2 good catches, man. Jonnu Smith has every week given you like 6 catches.
Okay. That's fine. But 2 weeks ago he got 7, and he got 4 this week was Kyle Pitts, and he got the touchdown, right? So if you go to Jonnu Smith, what's he got? Because last 2 weeks, he was better for the first bit, right? Jonnu Smith is where here
he
on
still gave you 14 points, 11 points. I mean, he's still doing
last
good.
2 weeks.
Yeah, the last week he had 7.7 and 11.6. The last 2 weeks on mine.
Yeah, so they're similar
on
in
PPR.
receptions.
I have him more than that.
Right?
Yeah, different.
If you look at the targets and receptions, they're similar. It's that when they're in the end zone, they're looking for Pitts. So that's where people are picking Pitts over. But I hear what you're saying. He's giving you good production, and he's the number 2 guy there. So it's amazing to me that they're using tight ends as a viable option on their offense. No wonder they're losing weeks.
But I mean, Pitts has only outplayed Jonnu Smith 1 week, so every other week has been Jonnu Smith. So I like Jonnu. Yeah, Jonnu got the touchdown this last week. Pitts didn't, right?
Yeah. No, you're right. That's a sneaky good call. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then let's go with the Packer as the third guy. Luke Musgrave's still out there. He's a big part of the offense. We're using him. Our offense has just sucked. So hopefully, like the things we talked about last week with except for that Detroit week where we just got stomped, basically, he's getting a lot of targets. You can see that. Yards haven't been great. He hasn't found the end zone yet, but it's bound to happen. And I think Aaron Jones being healthy and back, Christian Watson getting integrated, I think that's going to open things up more for him. So I think that I think he's worth it in deeper leagues, and he's got the upside that you like.
Mm-hmm. Whether he's going to be good. Spot, so I really like this advice because I've got Hunter Henry. Okay, in my most important league. I waited on tight end. I thought I hit a gem because he scored 2 touchdowns in the first 2 weeks, but he's been seriously so bad for the next 4 weeks. He only had 1 week where he had 51 points or 51 yards. I apologize. And then every other week it's been 2 catches or less. 1 week he had 0. So I need a new tight end. And I think those are some of the guys I want to look at. So I do appreciate that advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Musgrave is not available. I tried to trade for him. Tom Crabtree has him in my league.
Come on, Crabtree. Give him a chance.
I think Musgrave is a dude that's going to be a big part of the offense, but I feel like they're not completely 100% like on the same page. Like there are some times like the balls were overthrown, like whether it was a wrong route, whatever happened. I think that Musgrave is going to be a huge part of this offense going forward.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not like racking up points, but there's not many tight ends that are. I mean,
But I mean, he's had like 3 weeks that gave you decent points. I guess your league's only half PPR or not PPR. But in PPR, he's had 3 weeks where he scored 8, 11, and 9. And then one of the weeks that he didn't, he got knocked out with concussion, right? So,
yeah.
And that was the week. Was the concussion against Detroit? I don't even remember now.
Yeah, it might have. I don't remember.
Yeah, well, he only got 1 catch for 1 yard, so I think that is the one.
Yeah, so
yeah,
throw that week out. Other than that, he's been pretty solid.
Yeah,
I'm in a down tight end year.
Yeah, I'm in a 0.5 PPR league, and he hasn't gotten over 7.9 fantasy points. Like he's averaging when he has a decent week, it's 6.5. So I think your Juno Smith call is obviously, you said he's the better guy, but those are the guys I'm targeting. But if you're desperate, Musgrave is a guy that you could definitely plug in there.
And Musgrave right now is rated this is just a week 7 rankings, but he's ranked as the 11th tight end, number 11. So, I mean, the experts are, if we're not the experts, but other people that are experts,
people that
are putting him in his
fantasy
position,
football.
right? A lot of leagues are 10 leagues or 12 leagues.
My league says that he's number 24 tight end.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just the ranking for this week.
Oh, okay, I got
projection wise.
Okay, projections.
For week 7.
Let's go look, see what it says here. Week 7 we're in, right? Wow, can you believe it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's flying.
Week 7. Yeah, I mean, he's top 20, top 16, they're saying. They're saying he's going to get 6.5 in my league. So, but
how many tight ends are consistently getting 10 plus points, getting you
nobody
points?
Except for Kelsey.
Kelsey, Laporta, and Andrews, and Hawkinson.
Yeah, those are the only 3. And Hawkinson's hitting, when Hawkinson hits, he's awesome. But he had 1 great week, and he's not hit 10 fantasy points since.
Yeah. Andrews has been doing pretty good for me.
He's a stud. Good thing you got him.
And I traded Kelsey. I think he's part of that Kelsey trade. So it's not really a bad deal. Plus, I got Cook and I got some other stuff. So
yeah, that was a great trade for you.
Thing. Yeah, it'll go down in the history of my franchise.
Totally. Okay, so we should probably jump into some of these more, if you guys have trade offers you want to put in there, as well as more start and sits, that would be awesome. I'll just bring up, if you don't mind, Matt, I think one thing that we need to think about is rest of the season. So it's ROS. You'll see people talk about that in the leagues, right? So ROS is rest of a season. When you're making trades, what do you think he's going to do? We've gone through 6 weeks. That's a good stretch of time. You've seen some trends, but there's going to be some guys going to pick up now. So, for example, in my league, it's a 1-quarterback league, and I have Mahomes and Tua. And so guys who are struggling, do not have good quarterback situations, are coming to me asking for Tua. They offer me I'll give you this if it's Tua, but if it's Mahomes, I'll give you this. And because Mahomes has a name, Mahomes has a consistency. Here's the crazy thing about Mahomes or Tua. Tua has outscored Mahomes 3 out of 5 weeks. Isn't that insane?
It
There's
is.
a 6 week, so I don't know what that is. I think I missed the 1 week. Is there a bye week or something? I don't know. Anyways,
Probably.
all I know is Tua is slaying it, but Mahomes has the better floor, right? He's the consistent guy. Everyone wants him on his team. He's always on TV. It's his face, Kelsey's face, and Taylor Swift that you see when you see the Chiefs, right? So that they're always on TV. You get to watch your guy. But if you have a guy like Tua or someone else like that, like Joe Burrow, if you have Joe Burrow, you should be panicking. We've been talking about this for a while now. We're like, no, don't. Now it's panic time. You have Geno Smith, you should be panicking, right? So I have this opportunity where I'm going to trade either Tua or Mahomes. And so here's a deal that has been proposed to me. He wanted Tua and Mixon, and then I get Josh Jacobs and Calvin Ridley. And that's something that we've been talking about. Or if I trade Mahomes, I can get Josh Jacobs and Thielen, and he gets Mahomes and Mixon. And so see how it jumps in if Thielen continues to tear it up like he is, and it's hard to predict that, but man, he's gotten 20. How many times did we say he got 20? Like he's got 20 over 3 or 4 weeks now. I
think that week 1 was the only time that he had 2 targets. After that, it went up.
So either way, it still works out for my team. I just have to decide which one I want to do. And so this is what I mean. Rest of the season, you want to say Mahomes. If we go by what is going, did you know that Tua is the number 3 quarterback in the NFL fantasy wise? This is insane. And
yeah, their offense is crazy.
Yeah, and even in the week where they scored 70, he only scored 28. It's because his running backs also scored 40 each as well, right? So it doesn't matter. 28 points is insane for a quarterback because a lot of guys are scoring 17 or 15. That's a huge advantage if you have a guy like that. So I'm okay with going either way, but that's one of the trade scenarios I'm walking through and I'm deciding. There's also other guys that are interested, and I'm in conversations with them as well because I haven't pulled the trigger on anything yet. So,
you got any trades coming up, Dakota?
I was offered a trade. I already declined it. Well, I countered, and then he declined my counter. But let's see if y'all think I'm crazy or not. The guy offered me Travis Kelce, Jerome Ford, and Stevenson for Kmet, Etienne, and Breece Hall. And I said no, and I'll tell you why. Because Etienne and Breece Hall are the top running backs in the league right now. And he's taken 2 of my top running backs and given me back pretty good. Stevenson's been really inconsistent. Ford, I don't know. Kareem Hunt's getting more into it. And I'm like, well, I can't give up my running back 1 and 2 for Kelce. So I said no. But I do think it's not the worst trade offer in the world. I'll say that.
Oh, solid. It's just that you have to decide whether you want to be the guy who gives up the best player in the deal or you get the best player in the deal.
Yeah.
Right. And I think with Etienne, that guy's a superstar.
Yeah.
I don't know, especially in PPR. Yeah. He gets so many passes out of the backfield. I would not trade that unless so I have finding running backs is one of the most difficult things this season. So
I have 3 running backs that are worthwhile in that league, and he wanted 2 of them. He's going to give me 2 back that were definitely downgrades. So I have Breece Hall, Etienne, and Pollard. So I countered I asked for Kelce, Rashee Rice, and James Cook. So I took a better running back from him, but I feel like, I went for his bottom of the bench guy with Rashee Rice, who I like. And I offered Kmet, Tony Pollard, still giving him a stud running back, in my opinion. And I threw in George Pickens. He said no.
Wow.
I don't know.
That's a good counter.
I thought I did a nice counter, but I think that he really just wants to upgrade his running back room a lot. And this is what we talked about a lot. This is a keeper league, by the way. But
that's good to know.
And that's why I didn't want to get rid of Breece Hall. Because
I really,
really like him and Etienne. But
those 2 guys are superstars. Where is Etienne and Breece Hall going to get drafted next year? I would not be surprised if they both get drafted in the first round.
Yeah.
If not, it's early second. Both those guys are gone. So
yeah. So I didn't want to trade those two. And
even Pollard's good. He just hasn't been great this year. That's a
Yeah.
great offer that you sent him. I'm surprised he didn't want it. Maybe he's just in love with the star power.
And I think he wanted to upgrade his running back room drastically because his best running backs were James Cook and Ford, right?
Yeah.
James Cook has been kind of down these last week or two. Ford, I mean, Hunt's getting more and more, it seems. Stevenson, he's been a toss-up. So he wanted 2 running backs, but that's the thing I'm talking about where you mentioned it multiple times in trade scenarios. Look at who you're trading with. For me, him taking away 2 of my 3 running backs, that just doesn't make sense for me. If he wanted to do 1 running back like my counter was, and then also I throw in a wide receiver like George Pickens, I felt fine with that. But I couldn't give up my 2 like starting running backs.
No.
So let me ask you this. Speaking of Cook, are you concerned about James Cook? He went from like pretty consistent. He was up at 17, 12, 14. Then he dropped down 3 points against Jacksonville and 7 against the Giants. Is he a guy like if you have other options, you think about just sitting him down?
I'm not concerned, and I'll tell you why. Look at the carries and the yards this last week. They were pretty good. That New York Giant defense played them good. The Bills did not have a good game. He still gave you 70-something rushing yards, and he didn't catch any in the receiving game. He's been catching balls, so I think that's an outlier week. But he still had a pretty good week. The week before is the outlier. That's when they traveled to London. I throw any games like that out. I don't care about London games. That's why I said before that I thought the Jacksonville was going to win that game because they got to sit in London for 2 weeks where Buffalo had to come over. So I warned against people playing Buffalo Bills players if you didn't have to in that game. And this last week, I mean, he had a pretty good week. 14 carries for 70-something yards. That's not bad numbers.
He had
the end
5
zone
yards
and didn't get any catches. That's just that. I don't think that's going to happen every week.
Yeah, and I actually didn't pay attention to it until I just looked at the numbers now. But yeah, last week he actually did have a good game. He just wasn't giving the ball as much, maybe because if he's running at that much a carry. But a touchdown would have made a world of difference in that game. And that's kind of how it is. Running backs, they can run all day. If they're not getting in the end zone, it doesn't really look too impressive.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's a good call, Dakota, because that might be a good buy low candidate, just like Lambeau said here. Tony Pollard is a good buy low candidate. I agree with both of those things that they're good buy lows because you have a couple bad weeks and everyone's like, I don't know, and then they don't think about those. He went overseas and all that kind of stuff. I think that's really excellent advice. If you can buy those guys a little cheaper, I would do that. Matt, the one Todd, a couple ones earlier from Facebook about the 2 out of 3 running backs to start. It says 2 out of 3 running backs to start: Walker, Swift, or Pacheco. I like all 3 of those guys. I don't know who they're all playing this week, so maybe I should be careful before I give my advice. But in my opinion, just looking at the names, I would do the first 2. I wouldn't go Pacheco because he's more hit and miss, but he is also playing the Chargers, who don't seem to be able to stop people very well. But Walker is a no-brainer to me. They're playing the Arizona Cardinals, but Swift is playing Miami, and they don't stop anyone either. So I'm going to stick with Walker and Swift are the guys that I would take, Todd.
Yep. I have the same exact conclusion. I already, when I saw that comment up, I already checked it all, and I came to the same reasoning. Arizona for Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker is a stud, and you got to start him. And in most leagues, you're starting all 3 of these guys. So if you can put one in the flex, I mean, I'd put one in the flex. Because Pacheco has proven himself. He's been super consistent from week 3 on. But I think you get more points from Swift and Walker.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know. I'm gonna start. I'll start to. Dude, I think my running backs are like legit. I got Swift. I got Cook, Aaron Jones.
Yeah, you're stacked, man.
Yeah, like I'm good. And I don't trade with anyone because you know why? I don't trust nobody. People make you trade offers. I always like this dude's trying to screw me over. But except for like if it's crazy, like I traded Kelsey because he just gave me everything. But I like my running back situation.
Oh,
I just got it. The hard thing is picking the right ones because you pick the wrong one and then low game and someone else like I seen it do that, but I've been winning so far.
I think in some of these situations like this, like Todd said, he also has Aaron Jones. In some of these situations, you gotta just not even really worry about it. You know, once it comes down to it, I mean, there's no wrong answer between those four guys, really. You know, and whatever happens, happens. Don't stress about it. Don't ruin your day.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you got four great running backs, all with really good matchups.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we have to wait and see with Aaron Jones, but I like Aaron Jones above Pacheco. I love Aaron. Aaron Jones and Swift. That'd be a tough one. I might start Aaron, but I think what you have to do is just because you've seen the production with Swift and Walker, you just got to ride them and just see what happens with Aaron Jones this week because you don't have to start Aaron Jones, which is awesome. So that's just what I would do if I was you. That's crazy. You have those four. It's awesome.
Yeah, great job.
What is it with all our viewers with stacked teams? You know, it's like, can I get a part of this? Can I get a piece of these leagues? Because I think I'd be pretty good as well.
I mean, you know, I got some stacked teams. Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is it's like, remember Lyle last week? It's like, no way. Yeah. There's no way. And it's like, yeah, there is. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
What do you guys think about this one, Leo Ramos, who said traded Puka for Devontae Adams yesterday? That's pretty significant.
I think that's a good buy low on Devontae. Devontae's had 2 down weeks ish. I mean, he's still like the best wide receiver potentially in the league. I don't know. I mean, it might end up biting you, but I think Puka's solid. I know he had a bit of a down week this past week, but I don't know if y'all watched much of that Rams game, but I mean Stafford was just getting obliterated back there, and I was surprised he even stayed in the whole game.
Yeah, no, Devontae Adams is obviously like legit, but you wonder like on that team like if he had that whole situation where they beat the Packers, like I'm trying to talk about Raiders people like, yeah, they beat your team. But like I feel like that he's not as happy as he could be. Happy Devontae Adams is gonna be unstoppable. But this year
I think like that, if you can trade Puka high, you know, that's okay. I don't think that's a bad thing to do. I also think you're perfectly fine riding with Puka.
Yeah,
I don't expect him to dip that much,
right? Like and if you look at those stats, Devontae Adams last 2 weeks has been horrific.
Yeah,
and Puka was terrible last week, but has been good every other week. So even the first week with Cooper Kupp back, Puka still was valuable. So I think I don't know who wins that trade, to be honest with you. I just think at the end of the day, they're both really good wide receivers. I am worried about the health of Jimmy G, where I think Stafford looks like he's going to be solid for most of the season. So,
yeah, and Puka still got 7 targets. Stafford, like I said, he was under duress. They were getting eaten up surprisingly by that Arizona defense. I don't know what happened, but Arizona looked like a really good defense last week. They had them dialed up. I guess that's what it is, you know, and maybe the Rams didn't show up because they thought it was going to be an easy game. I don't know. But it didn't look like Puka dropped off to me, as it more looked like Stafford was just having a tough day behind center. He was just having a lot of guys in his face, and he wasn't that effective outside of Kupp.
Mm-hmm. One last one, if you guys don't mind, I jump in here. You know how Kirk Cousins was on pace to throw 6,000 yards? I think about 4,000 of them were going to go to Justin Jefferson. If you look, he played the Chicago Bears this week and had 8.74 fantasy points.
Jeez.
Then he plays San Francisco next in San Francisco. No, sorry, in Minnesota on Monday night. Then he plays at Lambeau Field playing Green Bay. And then it goes Atlanta, New Orleans. And then he's got weeks 11 and 12 are good bye week. Yeah, like if Jefferson comes back, he'll be a good fantasy playoff guy. But you might, I wouldn't start him for about 3 or 4 weeks. I would go with someone else, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins on prime time, you definitely want to stay away from that.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, good point.
And unless it's a 2 quarterback league, I'm fine with dropping him in this stretch. Honestly, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are going to give you decent production.
Yeah, but I think you can still trade him, and instead of dropping him, I think you could trade him, and not
Fair.
like the way Matt does it for $2 a fab that he never uses. Right,
dude? I tried so hard.
That's ridiculous.
Well, I didn't try that hard. I didn't actually make offers. I just put it out, trade, and in the chat, kind of made, hey, come on, guys. Try to poke them.
You should have. If he said 2, you should have at least said 5 or something. Like you got.
Yeah, I should have countered. You know what I mean? Could have got another one out of him that I won't use. I think that's it. Be sure to check out Kemper Sports YouTube. He's doing some great content over there. And Dakota is over there slanging shirts and whatnot. And be sure to check out my website, themattramage.com. You can find my merch, all the places that you can find my podcast, different socials, and all the things. And big shout out to Quick Trip for sponsoring this thing. And we are going to be out of this thing. Another great time talking to you guys. You have a good night.